People often tell you that your 20s are going to be the best years of your life. But what they don't tell you is that they'll probably be the years that you feel the most unsure about who you are and where you're headed. Your 20s are the first decade of your life where no one hands you a script. Up until now, life has been linear. You go to school, work a summer job, follow the path that everyone else around you is following. Then suddenly, the training wheels come off, and you're expected to build a life from scratch. That's why so many of us feel lost. Not because we're behind, but because for the first time, we're the ones writing the story. Welcome to Win Your 20s, a channel I built to help you make the most of this life-defining decade and use these years to build the foundation for the life you've always wanted to live. In this video, we'll unpack why your 20s feel so confusing and how to turn that confusion into clarity and direction. Let's start by answering the question, why do your 20s feel this way? It's not because something is wrong with you. It's because for the first time in your life, the rules you've been following no longer apply. Life suddenly becomes less about following the path that's already laid out and more about creating your own. Think about it. If you just finished your bachelor's degree, you've been in full-time education for 18 years. For 18 years, everything was structured. When to get up, what work to do, how to perform on tests. You always knew what you were working toward. It's like you've spent your whole life on a train following a set of tracks. And suddenly, someone just says, okay, now get in this off-road vehicle. There are no roads. You can drive it wherever you want. Go ahead, pick a direction. That freedom is thrilling, but it's also overwhelming. Suddenly, the choices you make carry real weight. Your career, your relationships, your finances. You're expected to choose paths that could shape the next decade of your life, all without a clear map and with no guarantee that what you pick will actually work out. And on top of all of that, you're figuring out who you even want to be, not just what you want to do, which makes every decision feel even more personal and high stakes. That's why it's easy to feel uncertain or even stuck. You're not just navigating choices, you're navigating your sense of self, all while seeing everyone else seemingly moving forward. The freedom that feels exciting one day can feel paralyzing the next, and that tension is exactly what makes your 20s such a confusing decade. But there's another layer to all this, one that didn't exist for previous generations: the constant comparison. It's hard not to measure yourself against others, to see what they've accomplished, the paths they've chosen, and assume they have it all figured out. While you're still experimenting, learning, failing, and figuring out what fits. And today, social media has made that feeling even stronger. Every scroll is a highlight reel. People landing dream jobs, traveling the world, hitting milestones, seemingly without struggle. What you don't see are the missteps, the doubts, the business that flopped, or the account that never blew up. That disconnect between your life and the curated lives you see online only amplifies uncertainty, making freedom and responsibility feel heavier, leaving you feeling behind, overwhelmed, and even more unsure about which direction to take. But here's the truth. Those feelings of being lost, behind, or uncertain are actually part of the process. The comparisons, the setbacks, the experiments that don't work, they're the raw material of growth. They give you information about what energizes you, what drains you, and what actually matters to you. The tension you feel isn't a sign that you're failing. It's a signal guiding you toward clarity and the life you're meant to build. So now that we understand why these last few years of life have felt so confusing, let's talk about what you can actually do about it. The first step is realizing that clarity comes through action, not just thinking. Your 20s are a decade best used stepping out of your comfort zone and into the unknown, trying, failing, learning, and discovering what works for you. Here are a few practical frameworks you can use today to help you navigate your life with more confidence and purpose. The first thing I want to introduce you to is called the experimental mindset. And essentially, what this means is instead of trying to figure everything out at once, treat your 20s as a laboratory. Create a few experiments you can conduct in different areas of your life. This could be a new skill you want to develop, a creative project, or optimizing your daily routine, and commit to them for a set period of time, like 60 or 90 days. The goal here isn't perfection, the goal is feedback. At the end of each experiment, reflect. What did I learn about my strengths or weaknesses? Which parts of this experience did I enjoy? Which did I not? Does this point me toward a path I want to pursue or away from one I don't? Based on this experiment, what feels worth exploring further? Over time, these experiments give you data about who you are and what fits. It's not about choosing the perfect path. It's about testing, learning, and refining as you go. The more time you spend experimenting, the more you develop yourself and the closer you are to finding something you excel at. The next tool that can help you find clarity in your 20s is to track your energy, not just your achievements. Most people track achievements, promotions, income, titles, status. We measure progress by what's visible, by what can be shown. But here's the problem. You can hit all the right milestones and still feel completely off course, drained, unfulfilled, disconnected, because you never stop to ask if those achievements actually energized you. One of the clearest ways to understand what's right for you is to pay attention to your energy. Notice which activities, projects, or relationships make you feel alive and which ones leave you drained. A simple journal or even a daily mental check-in can reveal patterns. Over time, this helps you align your decisions with what actually fuels you, not just what looks successful on the outside. Your energy is a compass. It's pointing you towards what's meant for you. Follow what excites you, not just what looks good on paper. The next thing that I highly recommend you start doing today, if you haven't already, is to create systems, not just goals. As you start taking control of your life, goals are a great starting point, but they're temporary. Systems are what sustain you. James Clear talks about this in his book, Atomic Habits. One of the most well-known quotes from that book is, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Goals give you direction. They tell you where to aim. But systems are what keep you moving when motivation fades. They're the routines, habits, and environments that make progress inevitable. They're the inputs that create the output. Don't just set a goal to get fit. Build a routine that makes showing up to the gym feel automatic. Don't just set a goal to read more. Design your space so picking up a book becomes the easy choice. Goals help you start, systems help you stay consistent. And consistency is where the real progress happens. I can tell you from personal experience, when you have good systems in place, when you're showing up consistently and watching your progress compound over time, you feel much more confident, more motivated, and more optimistic about the direction your life is headed. My final point, and maybe the most important one, is simple. Embrace improvement, not perfection. Your 20s aren't about getting it right. They're about getting better. Every decision, mistake, and redirection is part of your evolution. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you take action, you gain feedback, and that feedback is what guides you forward. But that feedback only comes from action. As long as you're spending time trying to grow, learn, and improve, you're not stuck, you're making progress. So rather than asking yourself, did I get it right? Start asking, what did this teach me? And how can I do better next time? When you focus on progress over perfection, confusion turns into direction, and failure becomes the raw material for growth. So in reality, you're not behind. You're evolving, improving, and becoming more of who you're meant to be, one step at a time. That's the paradox of your 20s. The confusion about where you're going is actually what helps you find your way. So to wrap this up, your 20s are supposed to feel uncertain. That uncertainty isn't a flaw, it's a feature of this chapter of life. It's how you move through it, how you respond to the challenges and curveballs. that shapes who you become. Think about the hero's journey, the story found in every culture across every era. The hero leaves the familiar world, steps into the unknown, faces trials, endures setbacks, and ultimately returns transformed, stronger, wiser, and carrying the treasure of what they've learned. That's what your 20s are. This is your unknown. The tests, the confusion, the self-doubt, they're all part of the story that's building you. Because in the middle of all that uncertainty, you also have the chance to achieve greatness, to create, to grow, and to become someone resilient, capable, and wise. Every moment of uncertainty is proof that you're on the path. So seek out the discomfort. Face the challenges head on. Step into the storm, because that's where the version of you you're chasing is waiting. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope this helps. I know what it's like to feel lost trying to find purpose and direction in your life. These are some things that have really helped me, and I believe if you take the time and put in the effort to apply them, they will do the same for you. If you're new here and you enjoyed this video, I'm posting them weekly, so please subscribe and drop your thoughts on these topics in the comments. I'm genuinely interested in hearing viewpoints on the things I speak about from others. Again, this is Win Your 20s. The focus is on helping you navigate this period of your life and make the most of the immense opportunities that are available to you at this age, whilst working towards the goal of self-mastery, becoming the best version of yourself in every aspect of your life. Until next time, take care.